This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, or township agencies present? Is there a response to the Bivens decision for the first time? This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, county, township, or township agencies present? Is there a response to the Bivens decision for the second time? This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, or township agencies present? Is there a response to the Bivens decision for the third time? Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here, must fully disclose their presence and purpose now, or leave the call. If you subsequently show up as federal witnesses, you're discredited for failure to disclose. Are you now, or have you ever received money or personal support of any kind from the intelligence community? Upon no response to this Bivens decision, this meeting shall now proceed. Hey, everybody. Okay, so today is March 8th. We have a lot of people who are requesting the recording of this meeting. So I think I'll start sharing it. I didn't think that I was ever going to be interested in sharing it because we basically have open discussions here, and I didn't think anybody was really interested in that. But apparently there are many people who are interested in that. Is there anyone here who has any objection to that? Okay, well, hearing no objections, I guess I'll just start sharing the recordings. I didn't think anybody was going to be interested in that, frankly. I'm glad it's helpful for folks. I will tell you honestly, I don't really feel very great today. I'm just been working too much. And so I'm not feeling 100%. And so I wasn't prepared the way that I would like to be or in the way that I am normally. But I am willing to take questions and help folks, especially Jean, your thing that you brought up. Now you filed a 928 if I'm not mistaken, right, Jean?
That's correct.
So did you notice in your 928 package that you in fact have a concealed carry permit?
I did not see that.
Interesting. We are kings and queens. So if you want to go to the sheriff's office and do all of those things, there's a problem with that. And so maybe we should be paying attention to the 928 documents, okay? And for that reason, I guess we're going to center everything around this conversation. Thank you very much for the topic, Jean.
You're welcome.
I think that's wonderful. Let's talk about this because folks do the paperwork, but a lot of people don't really comprehend what it is that they're signing. And that's okay. I didn't either, okay? Like, look, all of us find out about something, we figure out that we need to be here for some reason, and we feel good about it, and that therefore it is a moral action, and then we proceed, right? And that's what we do when we come here. So we're just going to learn as we go along. And that's fine, right? I think that it's real important for everybody to comprehend this particular document, the certificate of assumed name. First of all, how many people in this meeting are declared? Just raise your hand. There's a raise your hand button at the bottom, or you can raise it like Manuel did. Manuel, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm declared. I don't know I can't find the hand.
Sure, it's fine. Robert, you're declared, even though you might not really know that. 2, 3.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's why I'm here to find out any updates or whatever.
Well, we have uploaded your information to the LRO. We need you to put your notice out, which will actually mean you're declaring because you've filed the paperwork, but you haven't actually told anybody about it. We'll talk about that too. I think it's like people don't send anything anywhere. And we also need to get you connected with your assembly. Texas didn't like the fact that on the podcast on Tuesday, I said that there were people from Texas reaching out who couldn't reach someone to help them with their paperwork. And so I have a list of people for you to contact, and let's just see if they're going to talk to you. But your paperwork is done. If you want to do it again, or if you just want to,
that's exciting.
Just share it with them so they can repost it over there. You know, the big deal was that you did your work on your own, and they need to hear that from you, and that we simply published it for you. All right. And so they need to know that we didn't notarize it, or we didn't help you with the paperwork. You did all that yourself. We gave you a few pointers and you were working on it because nobody was helping you.
Roger that.
All right. And so will you remind me in an email if I forget to connect you with all of them so they don't get upset?
Yes, please do. Point me in the right direction. I will head that direction.
Perfect.
Thanks again, Mike. I appreciate your help as well.
Hey, we're all here to help each other. We're not working against each other. This is
you just made my day. I was just coming on here to see if there are any updates. Now you just made my day. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with our LRO is that the aspect of it that allows us to like really post it isn't 100% done. And but you're in there and you have a number, and there's no reason now that Texas can't hurry up and get you on the other LRO. So, especially because all the paperwork is done. The hard part's over, right? So like they should totally get that part, I would imagine. All right. Here we go. Once you start getting involved in the assemblies, there's still a lot of people that are operating with a corporate mindset. So just, you got to give them some grace and give them some time to, you're facing that everywhere you go, guys, so just kind of know it. I want to talk about the certificate of assumed name. I'm going to use this document as an example. All right. So, certificate of assumed name, notice of transfer of reserved name. And this is what Anna and I were talking about on Tuesday. This particular document, you guys, is so good. It's so powerful. Okay. What it's doing is it's returning you, the corporation. You're having to reconvey all the corporations back onto the land and soil out of the water. Oh, Loria, your hand's up. Do you have a question, or is it just up from before?
Just up from before. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay. So you see this part, you guys? First, I want to just point something out. You see this whole all caps part up here? Because what they did was they threw you in the water and then created a corporation in your name, and they usufructed upon you. Use the fruit. This is the Garden of Eden. out of the Bible. Like they're using the fruit. Don't eat the apple, right? They use the fruit. They're using the fruit. This is straight out of the Bible. The use of fruct. Use the fruit. This all caps part is the papal municipal part of this document, okay? And then this part, the upper and lowercase part here, this is the British territorial part of the document. So first I want everybody to just comprehend that you're operating in various jurisdictions on this document alone, okay? And you're crossing and operating in multiple jurisdictions all the time. So when people are just like, you know, they think they're in and out of one specific jurisdiction or they're never going to enter a different jurisdiction. I mean, you just can't do that, okay? What happens is we're operating in multiple jurisdictions at all time. For example, my house is my jurisdiction, okay? It sits in this neighborhood, different jurisdiction. That neighborhood sits in the city, different jurisdiction, which sits in a county, different jurisdiction, which sits on the state, different jurisdiction, which is part of the landmass of the United Union States, right? So do you see how in that one moment I am in multiple jurisdictions all the time? And I am at the beginning and I'm at the end of it all as well. So it's infinity, you see? We are in and out of all the jurisdictions at all the time. And we, living men and women, men means women for the people who don't know, living men have superior, concurrent, general jurisdiction over everything. Why? Anyone? Why? No one?
Yes, because we are of substance.
Right here. Also, why? More than that.
Because we have unalienable rights, according to Black's Law Dictionary, that were granted to us by God Almighty.
Well,
no?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
By God, but not because of Black's Law, but by God.
No, I'm saying it is stated in Black's Law.
Right. It's
that
also
we have
stated in
unalienable rights.
Right. It's stated on every law, just for the record. Bovier's Dictionary, ecclesiastical law, canon law, all men's laws, right? All of man's laws. All man's laws recognize that we are sovereign under God.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the other part of this, the reason that we stand over all of these jurisdictions actually is because we are, Michael, were you going to tell the answer? Michael Mossbach? You had your hand up and then you took it down.
Sorry. All right. We are the creators of the corporations, and the corporations cannot stand over the creator and rule.
Right.
See?
That's right. We are the creator. So there is no creation that can stand over its creator. Is this all clear in everybody's minds? This is the first thing everybody needs to get fixed in their mind right now. There is nothing that man creates that will stand over man. Nothing. You know, they say in the movies, no man stands above the law. You've heard that, right? They want you to believe this. But you know that it's not true, right? Is there anybody here who objects to that statement? All right. I had to stop sharing for a second. I don't know why this won't let people in if I'm sharing my screen.
Well, may I?
Sure.
Some people confuse legal with lawful, and it's not the same thing. The lawful trumps legal. So.
Right. Yeah, we operate under universal law or natural law, which is God's law. So just in this document, first we've recognized the various jurisdictions in that way, right? Everything, now there's a crisscross of some of this stuff, and it kind of crosses over into maritime and admiralty and all these other different things. We're not going to get into that right now. Right now, I just want you to see that what Anna and the living law firm did here was they took us out of the air, which is this all caps part, and out of the upper and lower case, which is this part here, and brought us. They moved our business entity all the way over here onto the land. It says, I am claiming the writ of habeas corpus to institute them and maintain actions of any kind in the courts of, hold on, this thing's in my way, in the courts of this quote unquote state, while maintaining true domicile on the land of these United States, to take hold and dispose of the property, either real, intangible, or personal, held in the name of the foreign grantor, trust, DB, doing business as your name, together with all derivative names and styles thereof, together with guarantee of prepayment and exemption from taxes, tithes, fees, together with reconveying all actual assets rightfully belonging to the lawful holder in due course. I mean, isn't that beautiful? Do you guys comprehend habeas corpus?
No, I don't.
Yeah, let's talk about habeas corpus. Hold on.
I'm actually looking it up on my phone right now to research.
Yeah. I just want to... The legal procedure that allows a court to order the release of a prisoner if they believe the prisoner is being held unlawfully. Unlawfully. The term comes from the Latin phrase meaning you should have the body. Okay? And habeas corpus was suspended. This is important for you to know. All right? Habeas corpus was suspended when we were usurped. So what's fascinating, oh, I lost my screen share. Hold on. So that if you are called into court, you guys, and you tell the judge, if you ask the judge, hey, did you know habeas corpus has been suspended? I mean, and I'm standing right here in front of you. I'm alive. I own this body. They can't see you in that jurisdiction. They can't talk to you in that jurisdiction. You're incompetent to appear in that jurisdiction. You can't appear in that court. Are y'all paying attention to the language they send you? You must appear in court. You can't appear because habeas corpus was suspended. So you cannot appear. And I would want you to ask them if they happen to have your death certificate, which they don't.
May I speak on that?
Sure.
I'm related to high-level Freemasons and was gang stalked by them. And I did a revoked consent. This was like 5 years ago. You know, the courts cannot speak to me now.
Yeah, they can't speak to us either because of this document.
Nope.
Yeah. So this is important for everyone to know their paperwork because Robert, like you just did your stuff, but like you got to notice the Secretary of State. Why? Because when they see this, they're going to be like, oh my God. Oh my God. I got to get them out of my system. And what happens is when we notice Secretary of State, then any of us who have done that, they have literally redacted us out of their system. You can't find us in their system because we don't belong in their system because we are not dead corporations.
We're flesh and blood and sign in purple if they come near you.
Yeah, I mean, you can sign red, blood, purple. I mean, red, purple, all of it.
Not blue or black.
Not blue or black, 100%. Make sure that you, I mean, that's the reason why when they send you a ticket and you cancel it at a 45-degree angle and say no contract, no consent, non-negotiable. You put the date, you put your autograph, especially if you put it in purple. I mean, purple is our color because that is the sovereign color.
Indeed.
And red is of the land and the blood. Blue is of the water. Black is of the air. So everybody should know that as well. But listen, read this. Providing for filing of names when business is conducted under assumed name. She's calling in Sessions Law 145, 1907, Chapter 145 of the State of Washington, an act providing that when any business other than corporations or limited partnership is conducted under an assumed name, a certificate showing the real parties and interests shall be filed with the county clerk and fixing a penalty ×2 to be deemed a public officer. You must produce and be vetted by the administrator of this document. You're the administrator of this document, friends. A letter of intent, a letter of compliance with all state and federal rules and regulations as prescribed by the Secretary of State or any private person who does not properly identify themselves upon request by producing a business license, a UBI number, a bond filled out in the all caps name on the certificate are fined on the spot for $500 in consideration. Then if you fill your fee schedule out to be determined by the head of the administrator, which is you, head administrator of this document at the time of engagement, and also the corresponding sessions law of the state of Alaska, including Chapter 84 of the 1961 Sessions Law, Chapter 84, Section 13, Common Law Rights. I mean, look this case law up, folks, and you should know it. Transfer of reserved name. So whereas the grantor, now it's moving into the water from the air, okay? Whereas grantor is a cestui trust formed without the knowledge or the consent of the grantee. You were a babe in a cradle. You didn't give no permission for this to be formed in your name.
You did not sign your birth certificate.
Nope. It is the reason it's important that we have a copy on file on our assemblies of your birth certificate so that if we ever have to come get you out of any of their jails or whatever, if they kidnap you, we have to be able to show evidence of the crime. And you never granted them consent. And that birth certificate that does not have your autograph on it, that is evidence. Do you get it?
I wanted to add that I saw on the television, a congressman asked the head of the cops, if they say do not consent, do you honor that? And he said yes. And I happened to end up back where the horrific crimes were done to me and my children. I'm in Clay County, Florida right now. And excuse me, because I'm living in a 38-year-old pickup truck right now, because, you know, they did every crime imaginable to me. And I've used it. I say I do not consent. I revoke any and all deceived consents, and I do not contract when because it's illegal to be homeless in Florida, and they've tried to, you know, fill their private prisons, and it works. So you have to say I do not consent, and they will honor it.
You have to know who you are, and you have to know where you're from.
Exactly.
And they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know your nationality. They don't want you to know your ethnicity. That's why you're white or black. If you're white or black, look, I was 7 years old, and I tell this all the time, but I was 7 in school, and the kids were like, what are you, black or white? And I'm like, I'm Indian. And they were like, no, you have to be black or white. Which one do you pick? Neither. I know where I'm from. I said, you're black or white because you don't know where you're from. And they would literally get very upset with me. And I was like, I'm not black or white. I don't understand the question. You know? And that's just because I knew who the hell I was. But if you know who you are and you know where you're from, you know your nationality and you know your ethnicity, you know, you are where you were born. So you're from where you were born. There should be no question about this. This is your nationality. And when they say, are you whatever. I keep hearing all the time in these meetings, well, as a state national, as an American state national, listen, that they have turned that into a bad word. Why don't you guys just comprehend that you're a declared American? Because they haven't figured that out yet. And it's
you're
really
a man or a woman.
Right. You're a living man or a living woman. You're declared, though. It is important for them to know that you have declared who you are, meaning you have lawfully declared who you are, which stands over the legal system. Okay. And I just want everyone to know that, because you get pulled over and all of a sudden everybody's trying to explain to these people all these things. Well, you speak plain English and they speak gibberish. Like, don't try to talk to them. You don't need to try to.
Dog Latin is what they speak.
Right. It's dog Latin. It is gibberish. And, the thing is that if you try to get into a verbal battle with them, you're going to end up in jail because you're both going to get frustrated. There's no reason for any of that. You just tell them who you are, and then you get to invoke the right to remain silent. How many kings do you know having a brawl or a fight in the street with a peasant? I mean, this is not something you ever will observe. They will just be looking at them like they're crazy. The nerve of you to cross my path and you will feel the wrath. The whole point is always to just come home or remain in your vehicle. You don't need to do anything. We don't explain and defend. We have to shed our slave selves. That's what you did when you filled the paperwork out. But now you got to remember that when you're walking around, right? And you can't look at everybody feeling sorry for them that they don't know the truth like you do. That's how you're going to end up, in Club Fed. They have to use their own discernment. All you can do is try to have a conversation, but most of these folks are so dead asleep, there's really nothing you can do or say. And there's no reason for you to put yourself in harm's way, number one. And I mean, there's nothing, I don't know. I hear folks saying things like, it's honorable, it's my responsibility. It is not your work to save anybody. Everybody's here with their free will. They get to choose whatever they want. And if you're going to impose yourself upon them, then that is 100% dishonorable.
They're severely poisoned as well. So you have to keep that in mind, that they're not in their right mind with all the 10,000 poisons in the food, all the alcohol they consume and everything, and all the pharmaceuticals. So
100%. 100%. They're malnourished. They have no comprehension of they're malnourished, and they suffer from dehydration and poisoning and brainwashing on top of all that. So, all right, let's get back to this right here. Whereas the grantor, okay, where were we? Hold on, let me move this up a little bit so I can fix it. Okay. Whereas grantor is a cestui trust form without knowledge or consent of the grantee, right? Has accumulated unauthorized debt against the estate. Unauthorized debt against the estate, benefiting secondary beneficiaries merely presumed to exist and claiming to have an interest in the estate established under the municipal law of the District of Columbia and the District of Columbia Municipal Corporation. The actual grantee, the living man known to the public as your name, invokes the provisions of Article 4 of the Cestui Act 1666 as one having been found to be alive. I'm alive. That's what you said, right? And now that Anna says that the Article 4 courts are in session, This is what she's talking about under provisions of Article 4. All right. And to be owed all benefit, control, and interest in the grantor trust estate, set free and clear of all liens, debts, titles held under the color of law, tithes, fees, and other encumbrances established by the United States of America Incorporated, and the all caps, the United States of America Incorporated, and the lowercase the capital United, all caps United States Inc., and the all caps USA Inc. E pluribus unum, and I mean, she's taking this all the way back to the beginning. That's what this means. The United States of America and any franchises, therefore, thereof ab initio. So she's saying from the beginning until the end, ab initio, from the beginning all the way to the end. From the date of the first registration of the estate trust and all and any derivatives thereof. Because, they keep changing their name and, creating these new corporations on the moment, including but not limited to your name, all the different, ways, and any other styles, punctuations, orders, abbreviations, or variations of my trade name. Registration reason. Look at what you're doing. Reinstatement of all actual holder in due course of estate name and estate property and all interest due, public and private recognition of grantee as holder in due course and lawful entitlement, holder of foreign grantor must be named your name as of your birthday. Okay. The business information, the legal entity, the heir, the grantee, the private, the public, signature trust, business description, commerce, grantor, private, public, and signatory. The business name is actually DBA, doing business as. Your name, and all the derivatives thereof in any way related to the estate so named. Your physical post office address is, your in care of physical address, the owner information, the true and real trade names of, the grantee, the private signatory, the beneficiary, the holder, the transferee, your name and the bicameral and surname, and the post office address where your postmaster is, where your mail comes from. So that's why it asked for, you remember when you were filling it out, you had to look up the post office that serves your address? This is why. This certificate, what is a certificate, you guys? A certificate is like a coat check, okay? You're checking a code in. That's what the certificate is. This certificate is to conduct business in commerce in an assumed name designed to accompany new business account registration if so desired, or to conduct business in international trade. What she did was she allowed you to take your given name back, okay, and allow you to become the banker. This whole thing is making you the owner of the business, the grantee, the grantor of the estate, the owner of your body, right? I am claiming the writ of habeas corpus. So she's saying that you're calling habeas corpus back into session. Do you see that? That's what you're doing here. And under the form of creating a qualification or attaching a condition, the upper and lowercase United States and the upper and lowercase United States of America, however styled or construed, cannot in effect inflict a punishment for a past act which was not punishable at the time it was committed, and which was not the knowing, willing, and consensual act of the actual holder in due course of the given name and estate, because you didn't consent, you didn't contract. All violators, agents, actors, they're all actors, y'all, under color of law. They're just like making this crap up, okay? And
may I say something? Jurisdiction is everything.
Yes.
And how they establish jurisdiction is through the post office. And that's the reason that you have to go through the post office.
Mm.
Anyway, well, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, but also the post office is a court and the post office is a bank. And we are using postal court because we are using a courts of record for this that are very well established, which are their courts. So, Yes, we're using their own jurisdiction, their own courts, their own everything that they do recognize. When people say, when are they going to really recognize us? I mean, they are. They do. If you know what you're talking about, if you're not constantly flip-flopping back and forth because you can't tell the difference between when you need to be honorable and when you don't, you have to ignore lies and bullshit. Okay? If someone steps to you with lies and bullshit, then you have to ignore them. If you address, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what I found is that if you don't walk the narrow way, as the Bible says, they will get you. But if you walk that narrow way, you're protected supernaturally. And that means you need to be kind and treat others and all that, the 10 Commandments.
Well, yeah.
It's as easy as that.
Yeah. Do no harm.
Exactly.
There's really only 2 rules. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And we do no harm. And you're not doing harm by ignoring, retarded people. When you have adults who are not, they're suffering from arrested development because they aren't developed into adulthood properly, because they're not made responsible for anything. There is nobody who gets to grow up and behave like a toddler and be acknowledged as an adult. I'm sorry. Also, I'm not sorry. No, grow up. If you don't want to grow up, then, and if I'm hurting your feelings, I have t-shirts that say, I don't care. I can't care about you if you are not a grown man or woman who comprehends how to behave, lawfully and how to comprehend English. I'm sorry. Grow up, get better. That's the reason we do these, so we can all get better. We need to unlearn their lies and relearn this. I'm not equal to you. We're not equal. I'm not inclusive either. I don't need to include anybody. All right? There's a difference between me honoring you respectfully and including everyone. I mean, pay attention to these definitions, you guys. Look these words up. I'm not looking everything up for you. You're going to have to look it up. This isn't one of those places where I'm going to keep going back and forth to the dictionary, but look it up, look up the etymology of these words. And I thought I saw Dan Deisher here, but he's a really good one to break some words down. And if he starts talking to you about the words.
I'm here, but I'm running a vacuum. I can only barely listen.
Okay. Yeah. Well, watch out if he starts talking about the words. He will. He will. What was the one you were saying yesterday, Dan? If you can stop the vacuum for a second, he was talking about the husband and the wife, being the signatories for each other.
Significant other. It says sign if you can't, sign if I can't. Significant, sign if I can't.
Yeah. See, sign if I can't. Significant other. Also, just remember that is in business. We sign, but otherwise we're autographing. We operate in autographs on the land and soil. That's why your autograph is worth millions and millions and trillions and billions of dollars, right? That's why your autograph is, worthy beyond belief. You're worthy beyond belief. You're rich beyond comprehension. How do you put a price on blood? Sorry, can't do that. That's why they used to seal everything in blood. They would nick their thumb and they'd put their seal down. And when they would sign in blood, that was their blood seal. That was more than paid for whatever it was that they were doing at the time. They managed everything with their seal. And their word was bond. They kept their word. So we need to all learn how to do that. Most of us are just liars because you're politically correct. I remember a time when they started the political correctness. Most of us who were here witnessing that, it was difficult. It's difficult to be politically correct. Why? Because I'm not a freaking liar. That's why. I'm not a pretender. If you're an actor and a pretender, then you're real good at being politically correct. Well, I suck at it. I can't even do it. So, Be as offended as you want to be. Okay. This shall also serve. Oh, wait a minute. All violators, agents, actors under color of law, and actions under color of authority claimed by any corporations, associations, or subcontractors, agencies, or agents of any kind, or alike violating or attempting to violate the political status of the title order of the grantee at any time past, present, or future shall be liable severally and jointly to this certificate as an affidavit of obligation in the normal commercial sense, and as such is a severity representing accounts receivable and is a lien upon the real and movable property, malpractice insurance, and performance bonds of any such violators, and is not dischargeable in bankruptcy court or subject to any probate claim. At all times, the owner holder in due courses, property is exempt from third-party levy, and all related vessels in commerce and in trade are tax prepaid. Robert, do you see what you're telling your governor when you put this document in their face? You are telling them that if any of their actors or their agents or their corporations, associations, or subcontractors, or their agencies, or their agents of any kind, if any of them are violating your political status, do you see this? Don't you just want to cry? It says, this certificate, as an affidavit of obligation in the normal commercial sense, and as such, is a severity representing accounts receivable. We are severing our association with these people. You see that? And it is also a lien upon the real and movable property, that guy, the real man, malpractice insurance, whatever his insurance is, he can't insure himself, okay? And performance bonds. This is their job. All them officers have a performance bond, okay? All the attorneys, all the judges, they all have performance bonds. Of any
I'd like to add something. When I serve them, it's very important not to call them judge or governor or anything. You call them a man or a lady. And these clerks are trained to entrap you to call them by their agent assigned name. So that's something to be careful with when you're dealing with them. And also, they're not courtrooms. They're rooms. So it's, I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about this. But
no, this is important. This is very, very important.
This is important stuff when I call them parasites. Right. And I'm trying to be nice.
No, well, this is all the nuances, you guys, of the ship. What she's talking about is you're boarding their ship.
Correct.
And you have to know that we are not crossing the bar, which is boarding their ship. Okay.
Because once you cross that bar, you are a sailor walking the plank.
That's right.
And you're not going to win.
And when you fall in the water, somebody has to bail you out.
That's right.
Correct. So it's very important to to be mindful of when you're there. Judges, or so-called men and women that call themselves judges, can look at me and know that I know. So
we do not encourage anybody go enter their courts. Even Jesus said, do not enter their courts.
But if you have to.
I don't know why I would have to. I'm not trying to do that. There is no reason so far that I can find. I can't think of one thing right now. And so not entering.
The reason I was there, my 12-year-old was disrespecting me to no end, and the 18-year-old punched him. And so they had him in court. So I went in the gallery to observe it to make sure he didn't go pro se. And then I ended up getting his charges dropped. But
so
anyway,
how do I say your name? Eanes?
Inez.
So, do you not have baby deeds on them? Because there's no way my babies would be in their court. I have baby deeds on
I'm sorry.
Are you declared A? Are you a declared American?
As I put in the chat, I've been trying to become a national for years, and I got really frustrated because every national I've spoken to is real snooty to me, and tells me that I can't be a national. So I am a registered sovereign in an international court. I was
Okay, let me stop
Wait.
you. I just want to stop you for one moment.
I wasn't born in the United States. I was legally human trafficked here when I was 16 months old.
Right. Listen to what I'm saying to you. You are a lawful American after 7 years of being here and not committing a crime.
I am a naturalized
No,
citizen.
I'm telling you that the law of the land is that once you have lived on this land for 7 years without committing a crime, then you are an American. That's how we view you. So whoever's saying this to you is uneducated and arrogant and rude and disrespectful, and I apologize.
I believe the nationals have been infiltrated by the Freemasons.
Sure, everybody's
and
infiltrated. Every state has been infiltrated. Everybody's fighting to stand up. And 99% of the problem is the brainwashing. So most people are just indoctrinated to the degree that they can't break out of it. And so at this group here, we're out of that, okay? And we can help you. And that doesn't mean that on your state that you might not face people who are, like that. Okay. So you have to there might be people on your state assembly that are indoctrinated, because most people are. All right. A lot of folks.
I don't really have.
But for you to declare,
I have.
For you to declare, you do not have any obligation to serve your government. Once you declare, you have no obligation to participate on the assembly, but you will get all the protections and we will help you do that. Okay? You have every right as a living woman to come home, and you have every right. Listen, you have every right.
57 years.
Okay.
Anyway,
what state are you on?
I'm in Florida right now, which I don't like Florida because I know all about them. But the state I lived in the most, I grew up about 10 miles outside of D.C. in Maryland. And I've lived in South Carolina, and I've lived in Colorado and Mississippi, because Florida told me to run.
Hold on. All I'm saying is we're only caring about where you are. That's the only place that we can record you on or deal with at this red hot minute. All right.
But I don't have an address here. All I have is a box.
We got you. It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay.
But I lived in Florida 14 years in the past, but before they told me to run because my family's too rich and powerful.
Okay. So you are on the run. And you are homeless.
No, I'm not on the run anymore. The state of Florida told me to run 10 years ago because my family's too rich and powerful and wouldn't stop doing satanic ritual abuse to my children and witchcraft to me. And I went to Colorado, and then all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to go into the details.
No, you don't need to. I'm trying to just talk to you.
I'm back in Florida because I was going to help one of my children, but he's so indoctrinated and paid off by my rich family to call me crazy that I can't deal with him no more, because he doesn't choose to walk the narrow way.
Okay.
So,
do you have anybody? Do you have two?
Excuse me?
Do you have two witnesses that have known you for 7 years or more?
Do I have what?
Two living men or women witnesses that can testify that they've known you for 7 years or more?
No.
I mean, all you need to declare.
There's people that can.
Well, they don't. I mean, I don't know what you mean. People is what I'm asking you for. Two living people. Two living people.
They won't do it.
They won't identify you. Wait a minute. They
won't speak to me.
Okay, listen to me. I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying to you. Are you ready to receive what I'm saying? Okay. Do you know anybody who's alive? Anybody who's alive who has known you for 7 years? 2 people who have known you for 7 years that would autograph a document on your behalf saying you are who you are.
I don't speak to them.
Okay, I think that you keep hearing me say family, and I'm not saying that at all. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Is there somebody you've done business with for 7 years? Somebody you like a mechanic that you've had for a long time, or you know, I mean, goodness, you go to the diner every Sunday and you've had the same owner of your favorite diner, and they know who you are for 7 years. I yield.
Or a hairdresser or anything. I mean, somebody.
Because I was on the run or whatever. I lived in Colorado, and then I lived in Mississippi.
Okay, you lived in Colorado. Are you telling me that somebody who knew you on Colorado or in anywhere that you live, they don't know you anymore?
They know me.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, okay, so you burn bridges everywhere that you ever went?
I don't burn bridges. They're a bunch of indoctrinated sheeple.
Okay, hold on.
They don't like me because I tell the truth.
What I'm saying to you is you don't know 2 people that have known you for 7 years that you haven't burned bridges with to the degree that they will just testify to who you are?
I don't have anyone that I speak to anymore. I haven't burned the bridges. They burned the bridges with me. I will not be abused. I will not be robbed.
Okay, hold on. We're not here accusing you of anything. We're not going to fight with you about anything. We're not arguing.
I'm not fighting. I'm just saying.
Right.
No,
we're just saying that if you can find.
I don't speak to these people.
Right. All I'm saying to you is that the only requirement to declare yourself as an American is that you must have 2 witnesses.
All right. Well, then I will see, because I in this area, there's people that I've known, but I don't speak to them.
All right. Well, what we're saying to you is all that document's going to say is that you are who you say you are. You are who you are. And they don't have to love you or care about you or whatever, but if they can identify you, which is what they're doing, there's, you know, when you call a rock or a car, that's all they're doing. Okay. And so if there are 2 people who you've known for more than 7 years that will do that, that is what's required for you to declare, and not anything else. So you have to have someone identify who you are that way. And that's it. If you have that, then you can move forward and nobody can stop you from declaring as an American state national. And once we have you declared properly and papered up, then you can just go freely do whatever you want to do. No one's ever going to talk to you again about it.
So these witnesses, they have to sign a piece of paper. Is that correct?
That's right. There's witness statements that they have to identify you, that you are who you are, and they have to have known you for at least 7 years.
They've known me for like 20, because I lived here 14, and then all that mess happened with their little satanic BS with Freemason. And then anyway, I should be able to find 2 because they're my oldest son's friends, and they're all around me right now.
And so, Michael Mosbach, can you go to the TASA website, Michael, and and share with her the link for the naturalized 1-pager document with the 2 witnesses, and just get that to her, because that's what she needs, because she naturalized here. She wasn't born here. And that way she can just fill out those 3 pages and we could record her.
And you don't have to get into technical details about what the document is about. You're just saying, look, you could say, I mean, we are working together. You could say, this is for work. Could you do me a favor? And just sign this showing that you know me.
That's that you've known me for.
You don't
Yeah.
have to get into technical details of saying, "Oh, I'm doing this because I want to become American state national." You don't. The less you tell people, if they're willing to help you and do that, that's great. Don't get into details. Let them do you the favor. You know, be the witness. If they say yes, okay, let's go to the notary. Boom, 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 done. Thank you very much. See you another time.
And thank you for saying that, because these people are chicken of learning about straw man.
Right.
Is the issue
Okay.
as
Well,
well.
listen. Nobody in my family, our extended family, is able to hear what we're saying and or comprehend this or follow it or whatever. And so you're not unique, but you know, we love our family. We meet them where they're at. They're on a different vibration as we are from us, you know, in that way. And it's okay. We love them where they're at because we are liquid love. We are people at peace. We're not warring with anybody. We are trying to do the great work to reveal the fraud the way that Gandhi tried to do. And that's it, you know? So there is no reason for any animosity or name calling or all this stuff. Like we don't do that. All right. I won't
Well,
listen. I won't listen to it because it's
I
ridiculous.
apologize if I did, because it's hard seeing what they're doing. And
Yeah.
I don't see anyone helping the children
Right. I mean, this is the work. This is the work.
and the homeless or anything.
Right. Because we can't make decisions for other people. Okay. And the only thing we can do is share the knowledge. And then those people have to have discernment and then they have to seek it. All right. If anybody's seeking the truth, they will find you vibrationally. They will find you. And anyone else, you know, you got to raise your vibration so that you start finding the people that want your help and not finding the other people. And as long as you keep telling that same old story that's negative, and as long as you keep saying the same old story about all these devils and evil, what I don't even say their name. Why? Why would we speak out all that negativity? Like, no, we're not going to do that because
I've been working on that.
Yeah, every time you do that, you're giving them power. We are not going to do that here. So, you know, I love you so much. I don't care what you think about it. We're not going to do that here. We're going to only move forward in love, and we're going to find the people with love, and we're going to find the solutions, and we are moving on to the new earth, and everybody's not coming with us. All right? Go ahead and realize that right now. And we're going to do everything we can to bring the children, you know, and we don't want to call them children. We already know they're not childrens, where they're not that. They're our sons and daughters. So we are doing this to bring our sons and daughters home. And we fight for our sons and daughters, and that is what we do, okay? But we're not going to be lost in all the negative talk. We will not do it. So let's move on with the rest of this paperwork. Once you get your basic, Ines, once you get your 1779 declaration page and your 2 witnesses, then we can help you move forward with the 928 package. And that gives you all these other documents, okay? And you're already knowledgeable, okay? And so it shouldn't be difficult for you to comprehend the paperwork as we're going through it even right now, right? So if you've been able to do it the way that you did, I don't know how you found my meeting, but I mean, you had to be somebody incredibly close to my vibration to show up here. Otherwise, you would not arrive. You can't just show up here. You wouldn't have found me. Okay. So
my heart bleeds. My issue is I need to take care of myself more, because my heart bleeds for humanity because of what's been done to me and my children.
I know. Listen, my daughter was murdered medically, and I hear you.
I'm so sorry.
I hear you. Okay. What I'm saying to you is we are not going to tell that same story over and over again. And yes, none of us arrived here lightly. Okay. None of us did. And also, we have no desire to watch anyone suffer needlessly. It's why we're here, right? We're here because we don't want to watch people suffer needlessly. But that means we have to stop telling that same old story. All right? So we're not going to talk about it anymore. And everything that we say moving forward is how to move. How are we going to move? So for you, first things we need is for you to be able to declare. We're not going to talk about the people that are against you. We're going to talk about you're here now. All of us here on this call are for you. Tell me that somebody on this call is not for her winning. Did we just lose her? Maybe we, oh no, there she is. I see you. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, in this group of people, we don't need anybody to lose for us to win. That's not how we operate. I yield.
No, we're all winning. If you've arrived here, then you are a winner, period. And we operate in love and kindness here. And we're not going to talk about all the evil that they're doing out there, because if we do, we give them power. Why? Why would we do that? Don't bring their spells and incantations into my meeting. It's fine. You're here. You told us where you came from. We hear you. We get it. And moving forward, we're only operating in love. Welcome. And when you need help from us about the paperwork, you know, Michael can help you get the paperwork. Michael, you on that, babe?
Yeah, I dropped a link in the chat.
All right. Ines, you see it? You see the link that he put there? Got it. Well, she's looking. Okay, perfect. All right. Back to this document. We were just getting to the good part. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Under the form of creating a qualification or attaching a condition, the United States and the, oh, I already read this, right? However styled.
Will you bring
At the
it back
time.
up on the screen?
Oh, sorry. Let me get it back on the screen. There you go. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Yeah, under the form of creating a qualification or attaching a condition, the upper and lowercase United States and upper and lowercase United States of America, however styled or construed, cannot, in effect, inflict a punishment for a past act which was not punishable at the time it was committed and which was not the knowing, willing, and consensual act of the actual holder in due course of the given name and estate. All violators, agents, actors under color of law, and actions under color of authority, okay, color of authority, claimed by any corporations, associations, or subcontractors, the agencies or agents of any kind, or like, violating or attempting to violate the political status and title holder of the grantee at any time present or future shall be liable severally and jointly to the certificate as an affidavit of obligation in the normal commercial sense, as such is a severity representing accounts receivable and is a lien upon the real and movable property, malpractice insurance. So you are effectively liening them with this document, all right? And you're telling them you're also exempt from third-party levy and all related vessels in commerce and in trade and are tax prepaid. This shall also serve as mandatory notice required under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act that the living sole owner, proprietor, holder in due course, indemnity, because you are indemnified, Robert Blakely. I'm welcoming you back to the land and soil, right? So you are indemnified, which is bigger and better than insured, anybody who doesn't know this, okay? When you're indemnified, then you aren't playing with legalized gambling, all right? You have the real see it, feel it, touch it wealth backing you. You're backed by gold. You're backed by living blood and sweat, okay? And soil, land and soil. The indemnity is a foreign sovereign. You are a foreign sovereign. That's what you need to know. Owed all the rights and guarantees and protections of the Constitution for the lowercase u United, capital S states of capital A America, and all assets owed to the priority creditors of the territorial United States and the municipal United States. This foreign sovereign, your name, retains all rights in reversion and is not subject to any conference or of citizenship or other merely presumed benefit or obligation. We are not citizens. We are not trying to be citizens. A citizen is someone who has an obligation to a government. We are not citizens, okay? We have a nationality. We are nationals. We have a nationality. So get the language straight. And this is issued on your birthday, on and for the county of the county that you were born on the state that you were born on. And notice to agents is notice to principals. Notice to principals is notice to agents. Witness by notary does not alter status. Witness by notary does not alter status. That means they notarized your birth certificate. Hello? Witness by notary does not alter status. What they did was unlawful and illegal, okay? But it gets better.
May I?
Wait, let me finish this document. I'm almost done, okay? So by the end of it, now Anna and the living law firm is saying acknowledgement of head administrator from home office, private banker, UCC 1-201, 1-308. You are being named the private banker here. Do you see this? And it is your name, and then true and real trade name by my hand and seal. I take office without encumbrance. You're taking office without any encumbrance and without debt or other obligation, fully exempt and indemnified, and without grant of any other power of attorneys. Doing business as all your different names and all the different styles of your name, okay? And with your postal address. These provisions and copyrights are in effect from your birthday, ab initio, onward, which means from the beginning till your demise, okay? And the name, upper and lowercase and all caps names, are revenued and permanently domiciled on the land and soil of the United States and upon the soil and land of your birth state. Why? Because your county is soil jurisdiction. Soil jurisdiction is superior to land jurisdiction because, I mean, it's tied together, but soil stands over the land. So by the highest authority. Isn't this fun?
May I?
Yes.
Could you please describe to everybody what notice to principals and notice to agents and notice to agents is notice to principals, please? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That just means that in their military system, they need to let everybody in all the offices know that they've been noticed. So if you tell the Secretary of State, the Secretary of State is responsible for notifying all the people, the governor and all the people under the governor, all the people in all the offices, and then they go further than that. They also are supposed to notice the state of state, but we also, the Secretary of the State of States. So the state of state, your local SOS, is supposed to also tell the state, the Secretary of the States of State, which is, or was, what's his face? Blinken. I don't think Blinken's in office anymore. But anyway, they're supposed to let DC know. When you say notice to principals is notice to agents, notice to agents is notice to principals, that means everybody from the smallest title office to the largest title office in all of the municipal and British territorial government office seats, you are noticing them all from top to bottom. Are we clear on that now? So that document alone should not even require a conceal carry. We still got our friend here, Jean. All right, look, just because of that document alone, you don't need to have a conceal and carry. But let's just entertain this document, okay? Shall we?
Okay. Yep.
So you've got the training, which is good because, you know, you want to have knowledge and you don't want to operate without knowledge. And if you've never, operated an arm, then you definitely require training. So I'm glad you got that. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, you should continue to do that. But this document says, I, your name, a living man or woman of over the age of 21, a declared American state national of sound mind and body, do affirm and declare that I responsibly exercise my right to bear arms as a peaceful, private American in fulfilling my duty to uphold the public law and keep the peace. I will utilize my weapons through visible or concealed carry as is appropriate. Notice to agents is notice to principals. Notice to principals is notice to agents. Why? Because I am a king or a queen, and I don't need you to give me permission. All right, like whatever. Then this declaration is valid, true, correct, and complete in all jurisdictions of law, air, land, and sea, and so autographed and sealed on your day that you did your paperwork. Got it?
Okay. Yeah.
So if you did your 928, you did this document already, and that is your. We don't do permits. We don't need permission. We don't do licenses because they are not going to license us and qualify us and tell us what we can and cannot do. We're going to tell them what we're going to do. And that's what you did right there.
So can I show this to the store and get my guns?
Well, all right. Technically, have you, first of all, properly declared the Secretary of State? Most people haven't.
I believe so.
No, you haven't.
I don't know.
Because you would freaking know it. You don't believe it. You don't think it. You either did it and you know it well, but you don't.
I did all the letters and stuff.
Well, the letters that you got from the North Carolina Assembly were not a testimony in the form of an affidavit, and it is nowhere near as powerful as what you should do. And on top of that, you have to know this paperwork. You need to know it inside and out, Gene. The other thing that you need to know is that we're still operating in a dual situation here, a parallel universe, let's call it, where you have people who haven't said anything to anybody for over 150 years. And now all of a sudden we're establishing our government and we're less than the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Do you know how many millions of people are just in Wake County alone?
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying there's millions and millions of people in Wake County alone. And then you have only less than 300 people who have declared on our state, which we only need one king. Okay. We only need one king, but we have way more than that. All right. And the more sovereigns that you have, which we need 2 on every county to stand properly for the whole entire state. But we're just getting positioned. You know what we've been doing, right, Gene? So we're just getting positioned to be able to start sending our notices off. So I'm talking about as an assembly. The assemblies have to notice. And then the people have to notice. There's a lot of parts and pieces to this, right?
Right.
So if you're going to expect to just go to the store, because the only thing these people actually get to control and make money on is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. The problem is that arms are not firearms. Firearms are things like cannons, something that you can't pick up, okay?
Okay.
Bazooka.
So, yeah, like some giant bazooka. Probably some of these guys could pick up some of that stuff, but me and you aren't picking it up, all right?
Right.
And you're definitely not concealing it anywhere, all right?
Right.
So they're supposed to oversee and manage firearms, not arms. It's none of their freaking business about the arms.
The license is when the government steals your rights and sells them back to you.
That's right. So they're trying to sell you your rights back. Now, we've been through some very professional arms training, and we were told by our instructor, James Yeager, he says, when a good guy kills a bad guy, nobody cares who killed the bad guy. Nobody's looking for who it was that killed the bad guy. But when a bad guy kills a good guy, everybody's looking for the bad guy. So don't be a motherfucking bad guy, he says. Right?
Right.
So, you need to operate the way that you know that you need to operate in honor. You don't need to worry about, you're so busy seeking permission from these people that you shouldn't carry your arm until you know how to protect and defend yourself. Just verbally. Just knowledgeably.
Right. But, you know, you go to the class, they tell you you got to go get this permit. You bring the permit to the store, you get your gun, and you're on your way.
Okay. Or you can learn how you purchase, with barter blankets and different other things that we're not going to talk about on this recording.
Right.
Okay. That's all.
Are you saying they won't let you in the class unless you have a permit?
No, that's not true. You can take the class,
No,
but
no, no.
after the class, you don't get a license, Michael, to go purchase arms until you go and register or get permission from the sheriff's office, basically.
Correct.
Also, you can follow that path if you want to, or you can know who you are and know where you're from and not follow that path.
Yeah, but the store's not going to understand
well,
that.
the problem is you keep going to the store, Gene.
Go to the gun show and ask some private guy that's selling guns and pull him to the back of the tent and say, hey, I'm a national here, and could you sell me a gun here? Here's $300.
Go to Tennessee. Go to a lot of places. You need to learn what you need to do besides go to the freaking store over here.
Okay, so I'll just tell you briefly what happened, okay? I brought my friend with me back before Thanksgiving. It was these two pistols. They were on sale for $200, okay? So I bought it. He put his information in and went off to the, what is it, AFN or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Waited 30 days, never heard back. He went back, he redid it again, 30 days, and here we are in March. And I've paid for the guns. They're sitting there.
Then they should give you your money back. That's all there is to it. Just get your freaking money back. Also, we don't buy our arms at stores.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I don't have arms that I buy at stores because I'm not interested in registering it into their stupid system. I'm not letting them know how many arms I have. They are not going to know
buy it privately.
Right. Why would you want everybody to know what you got going on at your house?
Okay.
Oh, it's illegal if I don't do that. Well,
that's right. It is illegal. And
you could do it.
It's lawful, but it's illegal. And yes, everything we do is illegal. Why don't we make a t-shirt, Michael? Everything we do is illegal because we are living men. We operate lawfully. We don't operate legally. We're on the right side of the bar. We're on the living side of the bar.
You just gave me an idea. I'm going to create a shirt. On the back, it says, everything I do is illegal. But on the front, it says, I operate lawfully.
I'm the living law.
I'm the living law.
The front should say, I am the living law. And the back should say, everything I do is illegal. Absolutely. We're not trying to be legal. We don't operate in legality. We stand over it. All right, y'all. I'm tired. It's 1:24. Yeah. I just hope that this has been helpful for everybody. If you have any questions, please let me know. Ines says legal is unlawful, an unlawful crime when imposed on a man or woman. Hey, ניטי. It is. That's right. When you impose legal crap on me, then you are unlawful, 100%. Karen Frank? Oh. Who's talking?
I was trying to speak.
Okay, Robert. Put your hand. Can we start with? Okay, thanks. All right, we'll start with Karen and then Robert. Go ahead.
Yep. No worries.
I just wanted to go back to something said earlier. There is a time when you could end up in their courts because you were forced, arrested. And we've had a lot of cases. I've been out on these due process calls where people were just grabbed, harmed,
I mean, 99% of those cases
into the court.
Yeah, 99% of those cases, they did something to allow themselves to be put in a position that was compromised. And almost every single time that we hear about that, there is a situation. We can tell you when they contracted. When we go back, like for example, Anna explained to the Colorado 9 not to do what they were going to do. They didn't listen, and they went, and they're all in jail. Also, none of them were declared. None of them were declared Americans. I haven't heard a single story yet that they tell me the story and I'm like, that's where you contracted. Every time they tell the story, then they're like, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened. And then they took me to jail and I'm like, okay, but you contracted here, here, and here. So I'm not going to just blanket statement any of these such comments because that's ridiculous. But we will take any case that you want to bring with the actual facts. And we only talk in fact and truth. So if you bring the facts and truth and we can see what they are, then we can talk about where they contracted. 99% of people that I've ever heard of, I mean, I don't know the 1%, actually. I should say 100% of the stories that I have heard about somebody getting dragged off to jail or whatever, they 1,000,000% contracted.
I don't know. I just know on the Friday.
Well, you need to look into it. Don't say these things. Do not bring blanket statements out without the due diligence. Listen to what I'm saying. Do not say blanket statements without bringing the due diligence. There's too many people doing that already.
All right. Well, then come to the Friday due process.
I will not. You bring a situation with facts. I'm not going to argue about it. Just bring the facts. You should. Why aren't you asking for the facts? Also, everybody should be presenting the facts.
Because they gave us.
Okay, well, if they haven't recognized the contract, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's teaching it, and I'm not judging somebody or talking about people who I don't know.
Well, they've come to the call after the piece.
What?
They've come to that call to find out what they can do.
Okay, well, there's plenty of people that are teaching things and don't know what they're talking about. So just know it. You should use your adult discernment. I'm just saying, Karen, I love you so much. There are plenty of people out there saying things that are just 100% not true, and they don't know what they're talking about. So you have to know how to identify those people. Just because they're in a position of teaching that other people are promoting doesn't make them all right. You don't hear Anna promoting everybody.
I understand it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, she doesn't even promote me doing this, okay? Because we're all making mistakes a lot of times, all right? And I'm not claiming to be the knower of all things. That's why I stick to the material, right? But we have to talk only about what's case and fact. Don't bring some, something.
I'm just saying that there can be cases.
No. I have not seen one in which that actually happens without a contract.
All right. Well, maybe you just haven't seen them yet. I'm not here to argue with you.
Sure. I mean, if you haven't seen the actual, if you have
court, there is things to say and remedies for it that people need to know. That's all. That's all the point I was trying to make. That if you do find yourself there.
Okay, but I'm saying we're trying to do everything here. I get it. We're just teaching here not to go into their courts.
Yeah, well, some of these people didn't have a lot of choice at that point. But
well, they didn't know what they were doing. Yes, 100%. I agree.
Now they're on the call now finding out what they can do about it.
Sure. We all make mistakes. That's how you learn.
And I'm not sure some of them hearing their story did make a mistake because it was just total abuse on the part of law enforcement.
I mean, what they're doing is criminal. That doesn't mean that by entering into their court, you already have agreed. You've made yourself available for them to drag you across the bar. Why would you do that?
Well, the last story I heard on Friday was some poor old guy. They dragged him out of his car, beat the living shit out of him, took him to the jail.
Okay, wait. Okay, hold on.
And then dragged him into court.
Okay. Also, a lot of those people aren't answering the questions for the officer. When someone pulls you over and says to identify yourself, then 99% of them aren't identifying who they are for that guy to feel comfortable. And is he right? No, he's not. Also, they're not right. Everybody's wrong. How's that?
Well, I don't know. According to this guy, he hadn't said anything.
According to this guy. This is all hearsay. Can we not bring that here, please? Thank you.
The only point I was trying to make is that there could be situations beyond control, beyond what people said or contract, that could possibly end them up in their court. And so it's helpful for them to know a lot of what you're talking about, what they're teaching at the due process calls, what to say and how to deal with it so that when they are there, they can get out.
Okay, thank you. Robert, did he leave? Maybe he had to go. All right, thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
You too.